Good Lord, there are people there already. Nicola, Judith, and 1200. Wendy, hi. Hi, people. I hope you can see everything. I hope we are focused. Let me know if I am or I'm not. Hi, John. Now, I say you've done a tremendous job on those bricks, mate. I watched that video of yours and I was gobsmacked because you show so much patience. I haven't got that sort of patience. I think I made that comment. But cracking job. If I do half the job with mine as you've done with yours, I'd be really chuffed. Right. I don't know how this looks. It's going to be a slight angle because of the way I'm working, and it's also on a small footprint of my tripod. It's not fully extended because I'm sitting down doing this, so this whole affair is pretty much trial and error because I'm working at a really shallow angle for my oil painting. I don't normally work this shallow. I normally work upright towards me, and so there's a whole raft of little issues that are going on. And yeah, no, welcome John, because that was a tremendous effort. So yeah, I can't tell you, for the last 45 minutes I've been playing around with angles, the cameras, trying to get this looking a little bit normal, as if such a thing can happen. But unfortunately all you're going to see is a very little area of my mixing. You can see my color. I'll try and keep some mixes up here, but the majority are going to be out of shot, unfortunately. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm working on a square canvas, and I felt that tonight's subject would be worthwhile doing that, and we shall see. Yeah, hopefully, John, it's going to turn out good. It's the first oil I've done live streaming, so I've no idea what's going to happen. I've got my colours out, and I'm looking forward to it. So now then, I don't know how many. Does it show how many I've got participants? Just shows 4. So I did that last time, so I got that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you. So I don't know if anyone else is coming on board, but if you are sitting on the side watching this, let yourselves be known. Just tap your name into the chat so I know who's there, and then in a few minutes we will crack on. So ladies, 1200 V4, I'm not sure of who you are, sir or madam. I don't want to be rude. But Judith, obviously, hi, welcome. Nicola, hi and welcome. Is Tracy coming tonight, Wendy? And hi and welcome, by the way. Right, so I'm gonna start thinking about getting on with this. Just give it a couple more minutes just in case. I don't want to be so sharp off the block that everybody is left behind. Sue, hi Sue. Luke, hi. Jeff, hi. Great. I should have remembered from last time. I remember now. I do apologise for that. I didn't mean to be rude. But yeah, good evening to all of you. Okay, so, right. We are going to start doing an oil. Now, this, just a little bit of a for those who don't know or don't usually paint in oil, the medium I use in this bucket, now you can see the state of that, it's disgusting, and I have to put my hands up. It's dripping everywhere, look at that. I have to put my hands up and apologize for my own slovenliness. This should be nice and pretty clean, pretty clear. It's not. It's gungy. It's so overdue for a clean out. It's been kicking around in my bag because I haven't been able to go out and do any plain air. So, hi Andrew, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. And as I say, it's just got disturbed and it is so in need of changing. But what this is a product called Zest It. Now, a lot of people, hi Mark, thanks for coming along. A lot of people sort of cry away from using oils in their home purely and simply because of the obnoxious smells and the problems, and with partners and family members they think that they can't use this. Well, if you change the spirits to something called Zestit, and that is ZEST hyphen IT, you can buy it through a number of outlets, but the easiest place will be if you Google zestit.com or co.uk, I'm not sure which way around it is, and the lady who imports and sells to all the people that supply it, her name is Jackie Blackman, with a Q, and lovely lady, and she will sell you Zestit, and you do not need to get involved with any of the other types, just the brush cleaner, because you can make any mediums you like from the one product. So you don't need to sort of be seduced into buying mediums of this or whatever. It works. How many times do you tell us off for that? Yeah, Wendy, you're right. I am telling myself off. I haven't been. I just sort of knew I had to do this oil, and I've been so busy. John will understand this, that I've been so busy doing train stuff today that I completely forgot to change the Zestit in time for tonight. So there you go. Ben, good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you managed it. And the little bit of, those of you who look at my thumbnails didn't spot what Ben spotted. Ben spotted the fact that I was doing an oil painting tonight, and yet the thumbnail said a watercolour. And that's because I literally copied the old one and put a new picture in and let it out there. Ben, you spotted my deliberate mistake, and I'm glad you were on the ball, and I'll have to engage you as my secretary soon. All right, moving on. So now then, I've talked about the Zestit. Let's quickly go through the colours. I use a brown umber, burnt umber. It's the reddish of the two umbers. There is the raw umber, which is the unburnt version, which is yellowish. I have started using this as my green for a little while. This is cobalt teal. Quite like it. It's a really lovely colour. Deep turquoise. This is the standard ultramarine blue, and this one is cobalt blue. They are fairly with me all the time. Yes, train stuff is very addictive. Tell me about it, John. Judy, who guessed you have playing around with your trains? That is. Yeah. I've sort of I have to agree. I did. I've been at it all the time, all the last couple of days. Okay, so this one is a bit of a newbie for me. Now, this is for another demonstration evening, but this is actually called Cyan, and there is a reason for that, which I'll try and allude to during the course of the evening. This is magenta, this is cadmium red light, cadmium yellow deep, cadmium lemon yellow, and these two, both of these are titanium white. Now, for any of our American friends, a lot of people don't like the zinc white, because they feel in this country we're not too worried about it. I do know that a lot of American painters have sort of shied away from it of recent times. It's because it has a tendency to crack over time. Now the thing is that if you're not painting in heavy impasto, it's not such a big deal. I've used it, and I've used it for years, and it's still being made by okay, am I still there? Because I changed the latency. Maybe I should go back to the lesser of the two. I don't think I can. Am I still? Is everybody hearing me still? Apparently I'm not on the chat. Okay, hopefully you're still there. Can somebody let me know that I've not disappeared, because I had a funny glitch then, and I'm not sure if I'm still streaming out to you or whether you're having a problem seeing me or whatever. So maybe you could just give me a quick go over, or I'll have to start the stream over and go to a lower latency. I tried it on the normal one, but maybe it's just not good enough. So are you still there, everybody? Somebody speak to me quickly. I have to make a decision. Oh, I love technology. Excellent connection, it says, so I'm assuming you're still there, everyone. Okay, thanks Wendy for doing that, but why can I not see the chat? I don't understand. Hopefully it will come back and the feed will carry on. Oh. I can't take that. I'm sorry, my phone's going on me now. Catherine? 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 If that's Barnes trying to call my phone, can you tell him that not to, please? Right. Oh dear. All things. My phone went off. It froze everything. I'm assuming you're still there. So, I don't know what else I can do actually. No! Catherine, can you tell him not to call me? He keeps calling me. Alright. Oh, dear Lord. Right. I do humbly apologise for what's going on. My phone keeps going off. Somebody will not get the message. And it's the trouble, I suppose, when you're using your phone to stream with. Alright. No, I'm not going to start swearing, but I'm close to it. Wendy, I don't understand why I can't see anybody on chat. The last one was Judy said something about 10 minutes ago. All right, I'm just going to ignore the chat. I know you can hear me and see me, so please, if the chat comes back, keep tapping stuff, keep commenting, and I will keep painting. All right, so long enough. Let's carry on. Okay, so I started talking about the zesty and the paint and the colours. Now why have I got a colour board? The colour board is so that I can have a mid-tone right from the word go. I want to see what's going on. Scroll up maybe. I am, but nothing's happening. Yeah, no, there's nothing there. I'm going to remove that. I don't know what to do. Anyway, I'm going to ignore the chat. I'm sorry, guys. I can't talk to you. I don't know what's happened, but I'm going to carry on painting. The reason for this is that it gives me a medium tone to start with, so I can use and see my lights and my darks very, very quickly. Now, for tonight, I'm going to go in with a very, very low horizon, and I'm dry brushing, jotting down the colour with the sand and the sea very, very low. So there's my sort of sand level. And up here somewhere, maybe a little higher, maybe up here, let's put in our horizon for our water. Okay, now this is a view over the channel, and I don't know if any of these other things will help. Live chat. No. Okay, I will try and do that. I don't listen, guys. If you can all hear me, I've been advised to close the chat and start again. And if I do that and something goes terribly wrong and I have to start this stream again, please bear with me and just look to my thing and there will be a new stream. So if you can't figure out what the heck's gone on, trouble is I don't know how to end the chat either. Oh no, come on. Pop out chat, is that helping? Okay, I've got a pop out chat going on now, so I'm going to use that and ignore everything else. Right, okay, so no, John, everybody, hi. Sorry for this huge delay. Thanks for still staying with me. I've got a chat, I think, on a pop out chat now, so if somebody else starts, the last one that shows here is Luke saying close chat and reopen it. If that's the case, then can somebody type something else right now while we're speaking, and then I'll see if this chat is actually working on the pop out. So, right, back to where I was. Just a quick idea of the horizon line. It can change. It's not a big problem. But I'm going to stop using a small brush, and I only use a small one just to draw with. Now I want to suggest some of the marks with slightly bigger brush where the clouds are going to go. Okay, yeah, hi guys, I'm getting the feed now, thank goodness for that. I am so sorry. Okay, right, I'm using a lot of white and I'm going to go in with a little bit of my cyan. It's quite nice, very similar color to phthalocyanine blue, but it's not. I'm just going to give this a nice big hefty belt of color, and I'm just suggesting at the moment, I'm just really playing around with the shapes of where I want the cloud to be. It's a great big head on this, and I'm going to take a little bit out through there actually, so I want it to come a little higher to the top of the page. Now I'm going to come in with some ultramarine blue with the cyan, a lot stronger, much heavier color, because the sky gets very dark up here as you look upwards towards it and away from the sun. So we've got this lovely color going on, and I ought to using a much bigger brush for this. Loud and clear, thanks Judy. Oh well, yeah, I'm sorry, it's just very frustrating. I don't know enough about the technologies, guys, to get out of problems. I know how to paint pictures, but when it comes to tech, I'm just left wanting. Now, I think this blue is nice, but I think it needs tempering. I'm going to put a little tap of red into that. Not much. It's going to dirty it. Not a problem with that. Add some more white to that, and you get a sort of a greenish blue, a little change in the blue. Okay, and we're going to come right the way through this color, and I'm using an angular sword brush. And I think this needs some more cobalt into it. Go straight in with a big lump of cobalt. So I'm looking against the light. I've got lights on me right at the top here, and it's proving a little bit glowy with the oils, a bit different to the watercolor painting. So I'm sort of bobbing and weaving all over the place to try and see what I'm doing here. Now, the colours that I've used, you're seeing a lot of brush marks because the colours are fairly transparent colours, so you're going to see through them quite a bit. Especially the cyan is totally a transparent colour. And I'm going to come in with a little bit more white into this, and that will make the colours a little bit more opaque. The thing about white paint is that it will lighten stuff, but in doing so, it will make it very cool. Oh well. Yeah. I made a bit of a boo-boo on that one, Ben. Sad to say, I was just trying to get everything out and done. I think it's fairly late in the day, and I completely did not check that before I put it up. So there's a lesson learned, and thanks for pointing it out to me, because I'd only made the same mistake again. And that's crazy. Okay, so we're just building up the sky for the moment, seeing where we want it to take. And it will come down. As it comes down, I'm going to make it paler and introduce more white as it comes this way. Maybe a bit more cobalt on this side. I didn't put too much in to start. So I'm going to come in with some cobalt into this side just to take that off. That cyan's nice, but it's a really aggressive blue. You've got to watch it. And it does owe a lot of its sort of shapes and forms to phthalocyan Blue Lake, I think, if I'm honest with you. It could even be of the same. You'd have to look at the code number. Each tube of paint, doesn't matter what the manufacturer calls it. It's they can call it sky blue pink, but if it's got PB13 or whatever, it relates to a specific chemical code, and that doesn't change the world over for all color men. So if you're unsure about somebody's color, then just check the chemical name on the side of the tube, and that will refer you to a number, and that is a direct comparison to a number somewhere on a graph that will tell you exactly what that color is, and it doesn't matter what they call it. All right, I'm going to come further on down, and we're going to start looking at maybe freshening that up with a little bit through there. I think I'm picking up a little bit of the wrong color, so I'm going to come in with some more white into the cyan blue, which I quite like it in when it's sort of not so powerful. It's a case of getting used to it. But those who know the way I paint and the way I work will know also that I have a standard palette, which you've seen, but to that, every so often I add a new color. I just like one, I bring it in, check it out for a few paintings. If I like it, great. If I don't like it, it goes. And that's the way I work. Okay, now the brilliance of this white, we are going to have to get in there and start putting our white, but to that I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow, way too much at that point. But instead of putting a whole lot more white into all of this, then just come across, pick up some of your white and come into the side. So if you want the other, you've still got it, but here you're not using so much paint to change that you already have. And I'm just going to come in and suggest initially this white. Just got a little bit of blue into it because moi did not clean his brush enough, so I'm going to just take that off because it is contaminated. Get rid of that, clean the brush, start afresh. Not worth messing around. If you're not getting the colour you want, then clean your brush through and start the paint mix over. Just not worth playing with. Okay, come back in and tap a little bit of lemon into it this time, which will excite that cadmium yellow. And let's just come back in and lay that in fresh. And it is only just the start. Now I do tell people to lay in their darker marks to start with, and that's very true. So I'm going to come in with the darker cloud, and I'm going to come in, I've been painting too many watercolors I think. Come back in with adding some red, which with blue, color relationships with different colors is the fact that the cadmium red light has got yellow in it, so that will contaminate and mess up the blue as a purple. It won't make a delicious purple and make a muddy one, and that's really what I'm looking for in here. So I'm just coming in and I'm just tapping away at this. I'm not worried that the white will contaminate what I've done. That's not a problem because I can come back in there later on. What I do want to do is come off to the side here and add a bit of orange, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and just take that to a dirty warm color, and just look to that in here, because there is this strange light resonating through the cloud, which is beautiful. And I just want to take that off and put that into somewhere like that. Now, none of this is finished. This is just merely me feeling my way, seeing where I want to go with some of these pigmentations and color values that I'm looking at. So I'm just putting them in, and I will revisit them further on. Right, look, there's 2 live streams going on. Jenny Kirk is doing her virtual model railway exhibition, but I'm going to watch this. Luke, you're a star. You can always watch Jenny. So, right, let's come back in and add some more to this. Just playing around with this idea of warming up this cloud. And some of it lovely yellowish values that are going all the way up into the top here. Careful with the blue, you don't want to end up with green. Easily done. I demonstrated that just now. It will contaminate and pick up. There's lots of lovely colours in this cloud. When I first looked at it, I wasn't too sure whether to use it or not, but I felt that it did work very, very well in terms of some wonderful subtle changes of colour. So yeah, right, now this is where this dagger really works, because you can come in with some nice little taps of colour, little shapes, little marks across the whole affair like this, and then come back in with other values. There's a very strong light value through the back here, which I just want to pick up on before we go any further. And this is the nice thing about clouds, there are just so many facets to the cloud. I'll take a little bit of that back, clean off some of that blue, give me a bit more room, get rid of that, and just come back in here and lay some of this bright colour in through here. Okay, and we need that to really show up later, and we can do that by making more darks around it. How does this look color-wise? Because I know what I'm seeing here, but I don't know how you're receiving it, your end, guys. So let me know anything like that. That's good to know. That goes on until quite late, so after this I'll head over. Yeah, she does have quite a good following on her channel, doesn't she? I've not watched many of them because I don't have that sort of time, unfortunately, but I know she's sort of quite got quite a nice following on the channel now. She's almost at 10,000 subs, I think, Luke, so she's doing very, very well. Just going to add a nice little warm value through there, and we're going to soften some of these edges, but I want to come back in with and build. All I'm doing is literally building the shapes and the forms and the colors, and just trying to give something that's quite painterly. So I'm using the dagger brush in many different ways. It works so well. Now I know you can't see all these color mixes that I'm working on, but they are what I'm going to try next time. Maybe I do an oil, and I'm thinking of doing if I can manage 2 streams for YouTube a week, forgetting the Patreon one on a Sunday, but the 2 true that really is compliment to you from Luke. Ah, yes, sorry Luke, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't think. My head is not where it should be. Appreciate that, mate. Yeah, to keep you away from your trains is quite a compliment, so I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, what I was saying, the idea, if I can, to create 2 streams a week, if it's possible to keep it going, and as I said, excusing the Sunday morning Patreon one, is to actually try and do 1 oil a week, and one watercolour each week. Maybe do one on one day, you know, and keep the days the same throughout. I'm just going to try a little bit of that into there. Kills that too much. Way too, not good, not good. Come out of there, and let's just come back to where I know I was. So mixing some of these blue values up again. Maybe a tap of, there you go. That's nice. A little bit of cobalt did the job. And come back in. Yes, so it would be nice to have a sort of dedicated day for one and a dedicated day for the other, so that people can either watch both and are happy for that, that'd be great. Or if they're an oil painter predominantly, or a watercolorist, whatever, they have the option to watch both of them or one of them as they desire. And so that's what I'm thinking. But what happens, I don't know. Middle area of the cloud is slightly more reddish than the reference picture. Yeah, it's a bit deliberate, Ben. I'm not being slavish to the actual photo. I want to give this more colour, more warmth than the reference, so I maybe should have explained that. I just want to add something more than the photograph has got. It may be that we take some out if I consider it's too much, or we add some more in, depending. The idea was it's sort of setting up for the evening. It's not quite there. The tones and values and the evening light are not quite where they should be. But yeah, that's the idea. Right, I'm just going to bring that down through. It's a very large body of colour through here, which is quite warm. And we can adjust any of those values further on in. And you must forgive me if I'm a little bit rusty on the oils. I haven't painted in oil for a little while. It's got to be said. I'd be lying if I said that I'm doing a lot of oils lately. I'm not. I've been doing an awful lot of watercolour, as most of you will know. But this is my first love. Oil paint is something that I grew up breathing and sleeping and eating it. Well, not quite literally, but I love it. And so that is my origin, as it were. Using the Zest It will help you move the paint like so. Makes a much easier job, but be careful. In moving the paint, it also dilutes it to a point where it can become a little slidey. So just be aware of that when you're doing, put too much in and you'll have issues. It's like everything. It works, and too much and it will start working against you. So I think we're quite happy with this colour forming here. It is quite colourful and warm and orangey on this side, so we're going to add some of that into this bluish mix. Taking up through there. Nice bit of blending. It's the thing about oils that you can do, is you can blend so nicely, so easily. There we go. I find that a lot of YouTubers are live streaming in quarantine, which is really good, as you get an extra long video and you can live chat. Yeah, very, very true. I've been doing the same. Some of the artists that I follow as friends and acquaintances and others are all streaming at the moment. It seems to be the problem. In fact, so much so I've been trying to get a piece of tech to turn my camcorder into a streaming camera instead of relying on the phone all the time. And a friend of mine put an order in and got one. I put my order in 2 days later and there's not one in the country, and I'm still waiting for some of them to turn up into the country so that I can get my own thing for it and carry on streaming. Nothing wrong with this camera, but as you saw or heard just now, that I had somebody persistently trying to ring me and causing the thing to freeze each time it did. I don't know if you noticed that. Did that come across as that? Judy and I have just missed seeing you paint in oils. It's good to see you using them again. Yeah, you're right, actually. It's very true. I haven't painted in oils for quite a while, and I gotta say, you never forget how to paint in oils, but I'm feeling a little bit rusty. Gotta admit to that. I'd be lying if I wasn't. Now I'm just going to come across with some of these. I'm trying to keep this fast and loose and free and sort of painterly. I don't really want it becoming slavish and heavily detailed. I think the essence of painting like this is the fact that it is loose, fast, and just frees up. And the whole painting is about the sky. It's why I chose, instead of doing the landscape version, which the reference suggests, I decided to put a square border, because I feel that that really does work nicely. Coming in with a very heavy blue of some ultramarine blue into this side to start with. It can be played with and knocked back as and when I feel the need to, but I just wanted to get it and establish it. I've sort of brought this a little bit too low, if I'm honest, but I'm not worried, because, as I say, the reference thing about reference in my book is reference is merely a reference, is a guide. It's giving you the starting point, you know, and you can slavishly work a photograph to the death, in a sense, to create all that subtle, and we've all done it, we all do it, but sometimes, you know, well, anytime, you don't have to. And who's to say that this cloud does not stay this way for more than a few minutes? It's changing, and unless you exhibit your painting next to the photographic reference, who the heck is going to turn around and tell you it's wrong? Because, you know, something here isn't there, and you haven't got the right amount of hairs on the nostril for the dog, all these things. It is merely what it is. So it's a case of enjoying the process and learning from that process and moving forward. I'm adding some warms into the blues, some oranges and the blues together. They work as great combatants when mixed together, but they work in harmony as lovely complements when they are placed next to each other. So I'm just looking at the values, looking at the tones, looking to see where I want to add something else and move it, and just assessing the whole situation at all points. Right, binary band. Yes, you may be right on that loop, but worth a try after the demo. Airplane mode stops everything coming in and going out the phone. Do you know? Yeah, I think you could well be right. I'll try that. Not now, as Ben says, but I will try that for my next stream, because I know I'm not going to get that tech through for some time to come, which is a shame. But there you go. You can't change what is. I don't know. I've got to check out the posters being really slow. I think John, you'll work this out. I'm sure Luke will too. But I've ordered a train off of eBay. I made a purchase, but you know, it seems so long ago that I've almost forgotten it, and it still hasn't turned up. So I'm going to have to chase that one, I think, tomorrow. But anyway, I digress. We're not talking about trains, are we? As much as Luke might like to talk about trains, we better not. I'm going to give this like this sort of shape here, which I think works very, very well from the point of the composition, and just add some more light to this side. Picking up a bit of the blue, don't worry too much, don't get overdoing it, but it's not the end of the world if you grab some. Yeah, exactly. I can understand that, John. I can understand that totally. Right. So is that your your occupation, John, if that's not a rude question. All right. Just a bit more yellow and maybe a tap of red into there. Just a bit more. You hope not what? Oh no, we won't, Sue. Honestly, we're not going to talk about trains. Are we, Luke? No, Luke assures me we're not. I bet the world and his wife are ordering online now, so Raw must be swamped. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I'm not sort of losing any sleep over it. I've been waiting a week for some brackets so I can finish off my office here, so I can actually put books and stuff off and start putting all my modelling bits and pieces onto proper shelves. So all around me will not be so echoey next time we talk to each other in that sense, and hopefully I will have this part of it finished. But it's been a lot of fun because it's causing me to sort out many things in the office, and you know, over the years you accumulate so much. No, we're not, Luke. Only because your nan's listening in and she'll have a go. You know what she's like. She'll have a go at you. And me. So we won't. So, right. Judy, you still there? Is anybody else there? I don't know how many people are watching. Jeff, are you still there? I'm going to carry on as if everybody's still there. I'm sure everybody is. Probably gone to sleep by now, waiting for this painting to happen. But I'm just looking and judging all the little tones and values across this. There are sort of several bodies of rain that are coming down in this cloud form right through here, and I want to suggest those. There's a bit of weight to them, but a lot of lovely warm colour, and they're really deep. And there's a little tap there just of a little section of one. There's a bit over here which I now want to establish a bit more. Yep, 14 watches. Oh, cool. Not as many as the other night. I did wonder about oils. I think there is a tendency for a lot more people to be interested in watercolours, and I sort of talked to Wendy about this and sort of suggesting that it would be an experiment to see how oils over watercolours really do in terms of viewing numbers. And so far, as much as it is great to see everybody, it's not drawing in as many people as a watercolour demo would do, I think. Either that or they tuned in thinking it was a watercolour and then disappeared again. Ah, okay. What's that, Scotch or gin, Judy? Just softening one or two of the edges. Using the tip of the brush, just softening and softening and blurring and making everything very, very soft and muted. And this sort of, maybe there'll be more colour added, but quite likely as not. I quite like that little area quite on its own without doing too much. I come in with the other brush and hi Andrew, thank you. As I say, I can't sort of see numbers, so I don't know who's around. I'm just glad that people are staying with it and enjoying. A little bit more blue over this violet, just a little bit more of both the blues, cobalt and some ultramarine, just tapping into some of this a little bit slatier colour, a little bit cooler colour as it comes down. Start to build, and the whole painting is about this cloud, so you know, forgive me for this part down here is very, very quickly done towards the end, and I just sort of want to draw this, and it is as much about drawing as establishing color values, tones and shifts in warm and cool across the whole of the painting. A bit more blue and a little bit darker up through here. Just there would be good, and just soften that, and it comes back in here. So now I'm starting to refine the shapes. The first part was almost the blocking in stage of a painting, and then the next pass is a little bit more detail, checking color values, tones, and as I say, shifts in respect of they don't want to be watching Coronation Street. Yeah, and then you start to come back in and address all of those areas further, and to check on the greater degrees of detail and where you've missed and where you need to make other statements moving forward before you come to the final part, which is all your highlights where you need them, and just the final sort of look round and make sure it's what you want it to be. I always say that a painting is a whole series of mistakes. I know many of you who are students of mine will have heard me say this so many times. And it's true though, that you start a painting and it's a whole mass of mistakes. And you finish the painting is the point when although that last mistake's been corrected. It's done. Yeah, hit that like button, please. Like it, like it, like it. That's the thing. It's amazing how many people, when I say people to subscribe to the channel, I don't know if you've had this, John, they look at you sideways. It's going to be expensive, and I think almost I feel that the word subscribing infers someone's got to pay something, and it might put quite a few people off. But it's amazing how many people sort of say, oh no, I don't need to subscribe, no, I'm quite happy sort of watching and what have you, and you've got to try and educate them, and sort of instruct them that no, it's not a case of subscribing, it's not going to cost you anything. But yeah, it's never easy, I suppose. But anyway, I digress just for a little bit, and carry on working these lovely shapes and forms of this cloud. There are so many little changes, little sudden changes of colour, changes of something else, another little tap here, little mark somewhere else, just adding that beautiful light colour. And I want to actually come back in there. I'm going to clean this brush off. Good, sir. Look at this, my latest painting rag. I asked my wife before I started, can I have a painting rag? She went up in my cupboard and said, there's one. You're not wearing this one again. So apparently not. It's now become a victim of my painting. Painting. Just going to come in and address a little bit of light in here. I just want to put in a little sense of light around that dark bit of cloud, and what that'll do is it brings up the luminosity of the cloud behind, but it actually pushes that darker still, and gives a wonderful little accent to the whole of that area, and then make it disappear into the areas around it, so it is merely just picking up a little bit of light through there. Just take that tail off. There was two of them. I don't need two. One would have been enough. Because it looks like a strange animal. There's another little light greyish dark bit here, so I'm going to bring a little bit of light through there. Now there are whole areas of this cloud that are not on here but are in the photo. I'm not worried. Many paintings can turn out amazing through mistake or happy accident. Very, very true. Yes, I am still using Zestit, so I wouldn't be without it. It is very much the safest way of painting in oils and enjoying them without having issues with your health. and that of your loved ones and friends around you while you're painting. So yeah, no, it's the best way to go. And actually, if you count it as the way I've taught most of you to do, it's also the cheapest way to go as well. Get warmth up in there. Let's start actually adding some warmth and some values up into the top of this cloud, because although I've got it quite white, it is actually quite yellowish on the edges, quite orangey in places. Don't want to work into that blue too much. I don't want to pick that up, but I just want to make this sort of tease out a little bit into that blue and soften off, and I can come back in on that, but I just wanted to soften that away using my finger just to pop it in and play around with it. And I want to come back more on this side too. There's a bigger build that I'm missing, so I'm going to come in there. Now some of that blue in this orange is being picked up. Now it's not a big deal because it's actually adding like a sense of shadow. In fact, so much so that you can come back in and literally pick some of that up and use it as an underlying shadow, which, because the blue is in it, it's actually acting as eBay said, savings are calling my name. There you go. See, spend more money and save. How does that work? Right, so let's come back to the plot. And yeah, so that blue is not too much. Too much and you get an absolute overt green. You don't want that. But because you're using a bit of that blue into the shadow, it's actually creating a sense of unity with the blue in the sky behind. And you get these lovely little feathery traces off of a cloud. You've seen them yourselves when you're looking at a cloud that's forming, and like so. You can actually add a few more pinkish orangey ones in if you wish. Now we are starting to get some real detail going on, and I love this part of the painting because you've done all the real hard work and you're sort of coming back in and you're refining your shapes and adding some nice glows and warm colours and yellows and lights and all that lush detail that is needed to create it. Just bring that on through. Looks like Pinocchio. Oh, Judy, you need another gin. Well, I'm not going to say that other stuff, Piscatio or whatever it's called. You know what it is. I can't say it. Never have been able to say it, never will. Can drink it, can't say it. Right, I'm just going to tease off some of this shape. I'm going to try and make it look like the old woodworker. There's the head, forehead, eyes, nose and mouth. There you go. Giuseppe, is that the father? I think that's what his name is. Was it Giuseppe like that? Well, John, before I started GCSE for art, people would have heated arguments whose painting was the worst. And some of them were alright paintings, but some of them were just called modern art. Yeah, some of mine you can call modern art, Luke, but you never get to see those ones. They go straight to the bin. I'm just refining shapes now as we build this out, and working out through here is a nice darkish violety at the base, like so. Let that soften and disappear. Making it just a little warmer, I think, a little pinker. Just brushing gently over the top to give that a little bit of a nice pinkish glow. Like that, I think works. Right. Coming on back down to the area down through here now, and again I'm just tapping back in. I've gone over with the darks, now I'm coming back in with some of the pink cloud that's now in front of those darker ones behind, and just suggesting where they are sort of forming up in the various amounts of layers that there are in this cloud. A big dark area that I'm missing, so I may have to just go in and play around with that thought. A little bit more red, a bit more warm, dirty it up a little bit, and just come in here and just create that cavity in the cloud. And through here, by doing that, we create the look of this becoming a wispy bit that's moving across. There is one. I'm just going to make this so lost that it doesn't really show up too much. And then there's a little bit up in here. A bit more yellow into that, a bit warmer. How are we doing for time, people? How long have we been going? Can't see. Right. Cup of tea time yet? So I'm going to bring out the oranges. Half time. Right, okay. A few more highlights in one or two places before we start turning our attention down here for a little bit. Just to start balancing out. Because one thing I do say is that, you know, albeit we got this mid-tone down here, we are judging all these tones by everything around it, but we're not judging this one down here, and it does need looking at not too far on. Right, and bring some of that colour through that. And then I want to use some of this blue. There's quite a bit of light coming into here on these clouds, just through the tops of them, maybe a little under here too. A little bit of that blue that's in the sky just showing up again in the tops of these lovely clouds. But there is quite a distinct dark value that I'm ignoring, and that needs to come back in just around here, around the tops, like so, and to delineate some of the finer edges on a couple of them, maybe again here. Tapping off the hard edge. I think that'll do for now. We can always reassess it. It's 19:53 now. You're doing fine for time. Good. Okay, so we've been going nearly an hour. Thanks, Luke. I appreciate that. What I'm going to do now is look at this sea, and the sea has got areas that are reflecting the dark under, say, here, a little bit more degraded dark. I put a bit of green to that. Give me a dirty purple. See how that looks. We can change anything we want, but I'm just going to go through with a line like so, just to start with, just to give myself a reference, a point of reference at least. Try and keep your horizon lines straight. It is important. We don't want to flood the next town by having a wonky horizon. It is very, very hard. Often I'll measure from there to there and the same the other side and try and get it corresponding. I have also used the technique where I blur the horizon line more abstractly, in a sense, to create the illusion of change. I'm not going to do that in this one. Nearly did, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to suggest the light and the reflective light off of the clouds that are above them. And again, bringing that down through there. I'm not quite sure why that one there is there, but it's not showing up as a reflection for some reason. Must be some purpose for that, something that I'm not aware of. Maybe it's just further back, and I don't know. I really don't know. But we'll carry on, and we are use the reference literally in that respect. And then of course we've got a much darker value of blue over here, and we're going to put that in, and then it will change once more. But again, we're back to the point of putting in a base color just to start seeing where we want to take all these other colors. Come back in with a nice light passage on here, which is the reflection again. And there are a couple of fishermen right on the water's edge. So we will put those in before we finish. Come back in with that dirtier blue colour, a bit too much red, a little bit of that cobalt teal in there. And dirty that up and bring that in through here. It's a bit redder than I had it, but that's not a problem. Oh, that's too much green. We don't want that in there at all. Let's get rid of that. Bring that out. We can always go back over again. The beautiful thing about oils that you have the ability to repair, unlike watercolors that if you make the mistake, generally that's a done deal. It's not always the case. I often make mistakes in watercolor, as you all well know. And I sometimes, not always, sometimes get out of trouble. And sometimes you just can, and sometimes you can't do anything about it. I'm just putting in a little bit of a sideward stroke, came down with most of it and just pushing it sideways just to suggest where that reflection is coming from, and coming almost up to the horizon line, but not quite. It's still got a very, very shallow, faint line across, and I'm going to bring up a little bit of light through the foreground areas of the sea. And I don't want to do too much more than that, because I'm going to put on with a rigger some of the detail that creates and makes the sea look sea-like, if that's the right sort of word to use. A little bit of the sky color, which is a tempered bit of the cyan blue, and then just come back in with a deeper value of the violety color, the dirty bit of ultramarine in there, just to mess that up a little bit. It's just got a little bit too bluish. I'm going to come in and dirty it up once again, a little bit redder, a little bit darker on that horizon line through there, and that will work nicely, I think. Like so. Okay. Let's come back in here and just change a few darks on the very top of this. Very carefully run it along. Right the way to this side. Now all the time I'm drawing this line, I'm using my little finger as a brace, so I'm getting that same line across, and I can see that there is a slight dip somewhere about there. Just try and bring that up. You can make those small changes, but it's not overly important in that sense. I'm going to bring in a bit of paler blue. I like the idea of this blue coming through here. It does suggest it. It's sort of a paleness, bit of a lighter colour of blue. I don't want to make it obviously that it is cyan, but it is just a lighter version, and then it will disappear and go into the violety, reddish sort of gungy orangey colour that's sort of in that cloud from there. So they sort of marry together. One, they just change and become the other, like something like that. But again, that blue is sort of giving a sense of harmony to the whole picture, because you can see it elsewhere. Not in the same strength, but you can see that in the same way in other places. Teresa! Ah, I wouldn't say an expert. You should have seen the start of this one, Teresa. But it's good that you've joined us. I'm glad you're on board with it. And every Monday evening there's going to be a stream, possibly an oil, and then a watercolour on Thursday or Friday evening that I haven't quite decided. I think it'd probably be a Friday night one, like a Friday night live. That's a good one. Friday night live and a Monday night live, and we'll do it that way, I think. And one will be watercolour and the other one will be an oil. And every so often I'll throw something different in there, a pastel or some charcoal, pencil, something a little different. I'm going to look to this and just bring in a little bit of a dark passage up in there, like that. Nice warms, lovely colours going on. I love the way this is sort of forming up. And maybe there's a real dark passage here. I'm going to put that in very quickly. And that will dissipate into some of these other colours as quickly. Maybe a bit darker. Beefing up a little bit of red in there just to take it off. When you use the yellow and the red with the blues, it will dirty it. Whereas if you use just magenta into your blue, then it will make a much purer violet, which is not always what you want. Sometimes you do, of course you do. Other times you don't. Okay. Going to look in the depth at this as well. I think there's a lot deeper colour that needs to come into in this part here. So I'm going to start bringing up. And it needs to be a lot more blue. So I'm going to actually come in with some cobalt and ultramarine essentially first and just see where that picks up and where it needs to be. I'm just going to come up and add some weight to the lower part of these clouds. It's actually very deep, very strong. Well, not very strong, there's a very subtle orange colour through there. Just going to lay that in and leave it and see what this does when it comes up and meets it. I've got to say, guys, that not having painted oils for a long time, I'm really enjoying myself, having a lot of fun with this one. And yeah. The last oil I did, I actually filmed the start of it. It was a lion. And those who know what happened to my hard drive recently will know why I haven't pursued it. And I haven't pursued it because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the company can actually get the hard drive back. Not working in that sense, but get all the paintings that are on it off, so that I can continue that particular painting and also share with you all the other bits of work. There are probably about 5 or 6 different films on there, or a bit more. There was an oil course that I was halfway through editing. So many things. I know the obvious thing is I should have had it all backed up. Should have done, you're right, but I didn't. It was a brand new unit. It wasn't even 3 weeks old at the time, and it just failed. And not only was it a brand new unit, it was actually brand new tech. It was their latest all singing, all dancing device. So there's a lesson learned, but the company took it on the chin and agreed with me that I shouldn't have suffered in that way. So they're paying for the hopeful retrieval. And I do hope that they can. Okay, I think there's a subtlety in there that I wanted to put in. There are 1 or 2 areas I can't quite see because the light's above me, but I think there are 1 or 2 lighter values of blue that suggest the bases or other parts of the cloud popping through. So I'm going to suggest a couple. It may not be all of the ones that you can see. They're the ones that I can actually see at the moment. I come in with a bit more subtle blues, 1 or 2 places. Okay, now I'm going to clean the brush and I'm going to look at just giving this area here a very dark, sombre value. I'm going back in with the umber. I'm going to use some ultramarine blue. Gives me a very dirty start, and I should be using the bigger brush, but it's all loaded up with a light color, so I'm just going in with this one. Now it's a corrupted brown. It's a corrupted one. Hi Paul, so glad that I keep forgetting the day of the week, believe it or not, but it sounds very exciting if you are going to do charcoals in other mediums. Your hard drive. Sorry, it takes me long to read. I'm sort of stretching over and reading some of this. Yeah, I was very annoyed. You can't believe, Luke. I wasn't anticipating that happening. Since then, everything that I do gets backed up within a very quick space of time. I'm talking a matter of hours, not days, and I make no chance that that is going to happen again. And hopefully, as I say, I haven't heard from them in a little while, but hopefully they are working on it and they will have some success. So I'm going to put that in and just bring this all. This is just getting all this area blocked in very, very quickly. And I'm swinging between the blue colors and the warm colors. I'm putting, it's basically umber and it's basically blue. But I'm swinging between that. I popped a little bit of red into them now and again, just grab a little bit, warms up the sand. And don't forget that the time of the day, it's sort of late on and the sun is over behind my shoulder and it's starting to set. It's not quite there yet. There's not a big glow in these. These get further photos in and these become almost flame-like and really exciting photos. And I actually have painted them for some of you guys as videos before, I'm sure, or if not videos, certainly we've done it on our monthly demonstrations at the gallery when it was open. Do you remember that time? Yeah, I'm being silly. We will have more times. Right, now then, let's just come back in and push that all the way through the bottom there, and pretty much that part of it is done. But we've now got a sort of a dark value that we can look to the sea. Now I can start putting in and judging these values here on the edges of the sea to where I need them to be in terms of the edge of the sand. So I want a nice hard line running through here to give me the edge of the water. I want it fairly warm, a little warmer than I've allowed it. A bit more yellow to it, a bit warmer, a bit sort of more colour version going on. Run that all the way through. And then it does go to the blue, so I'm going to lose that there, take that back to the edge, run that into that blue like so, and that would be fine, I think. And we can just straighten this up where we need it. Take that through, add a few lines if you wish to, because they can signify the backs of clouds, a little bit of light that's leaked out and sort of creating a little bit more of ripples in the water. Taking that nice reflection up through and out into the dark colours, just one or two places, again suggesting that there are more waves forming beyond the immediate foreground. Something like that. And I want to come back in with a little bit of the cyan and a bit of cobalt just to come in here. I just sort of lifted it a bit too high up and I want to bring that back down. Like that. I think that's nice and that works. I'm going to leave that for a minute, and I do believe that there is a very subtle light colour where there is a sandbar goes down and there's a little bit of water, and you can use these as a lead-in line. Now if you've got wet dark paint on, I'm going to put on a wet light paint, but if you are very, very careful, and you do it in one type of stroke like this, you can get away with it. It's only when you keep working it that you will lose the ability. Now what I'm going to do is suggest that there is a bit of a lake or water joining that from a bar behind. It just gives a nice lead-in line. It's not in the reference, I appreciate that, and that can carry on all the way through out of shot, and it will add a little bit of something and suggest, because what I can do now is when I come to put my figures in, I can put them there and the whole picture just sort of pushes your viewing straight to those guys fishing, or girls, I'm not sure, didn't ask, didn't look, didn't pay enough attention. Just going to put a bit more dark, cyan, bit of umber, bit of red, make a dirty dark brown, and just come in, and that little bit of dark around the edges here will accentuate that watery effect that I've given. Don't want to make it all the way, just one or two places, just down low, so it just reinforces the area and then makes it look as though that it is a little brighter. Okay, and we're pretty much sorted out in that regard. We're going to come back in, and the last thing we're going to do is the people and the waves. Right, so where are we? We must be well over an hour now. I do apologise. What's the time? Oh, 13 minutes past the hour. Oh, we're still good. We've got hour and a half, quarter to, something like that. We're doing okay. I'm just going to have... Has anyone noticed the amount of spoof messages, cons, and people just tapping into your system and sending you all these stupid emails trying to get you involved in something? Surely they must know that, you know, some of these things are so stupid. One or two darker values in one or two places. I don't want to overdo it. It's easily overdone. Just a little bit more red into that, and just check some of these color values and just darken up one or two areas using the tip of the brush. Now I'm coming in with a lot more detail than I did before. And it's when you can start refining shapes and forms. And these little darks really push out those light areas, and that's why I'm doing them. Actually, working at this angle is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. For a kickoff, I'm not using a mole stick, which by this time I probably would be. For those of you who don't know what a mole stick is, it is one of these. This is a mole stick, merely a straight stick. This one's got a grip on it which acts like an extra hand, and just a soft edge which you can put down, keep it off your painting and work on, so you can do something like this, and you can work on, and you can get all that very fine detail in, which invariably you would be doing if you were certainly painting off an easel upright. And it's just interesting. I didn't need to use it. I haven't got it out. I am using it. I'm just going to warm up a little bit more orange, a little bit more yellow, a bit more strong orange colour into here. It's corrupted. It's not an orange. It's a beautiful orange. It's a dirty orange, but it's a darker dirty orange, which is what I was needing. Just teasing one or two bits into other areas, suggesting that it's doing the same thing around here, but in a different color value around the edge of this cloud. Let the brush dance around and let it do what it wants to do, and create some lovely forms and shapes for you. Okay. No, I'm not grumpy. I'm never grumpy. Except when it all goes wrong. Can get grumpy. Get grumpy when all my trains derail. We all know that one, don't we, John? And Luke. Nothing worse than persistent derailments. Right, just tapping in 1 or 2 extra colours. Sorry, Sue, I did talk about trains again. But it was a brief reference, nothing more. Just bringing in a lot more detail into this cloud, trying to get it to form up and change and do what I want it to do. And subtle little underpinning of the shadowy effects of 1 or 2 there. They're not big enough, not strong enough to give a lot of strength to them, but they do have some working for them. I'm going to bring 1 or 2 areas up in here. These are like subtle tints that you'll put in with a very soft wash of a watercolour. Same sort of thing. I don't want to come up too far in there. I'm tempted to, but I'm not going to, because it will alter that. I like what's going on with that. But I do want to change a little bit in there. Let that come in through the top. And everything I'm doing now is very, very subtle. Very small changes. I'm going to do darks as that comes down. Okay, and check where we are with some of these colours. I think 1 or 2 of these can sort of get quite dark down here and then start breaking away and becoming the violetier ones, that, if that's such a word, the more violet versions that are going on over there. Just dry brushing, little skinning across a little bit. John, you honestly think I'm going to sit here and believe that statement? You'll be the only railway modeller out there that doesn't have that problem. Just 1 or 2 areas back in here. Just adding a little bit more information. That could be a little bluer. Not that blue. Just play around with it until you get the right value. Twist fault on the down. Ah, really? Yeah. I hate when you know, there's enough trouble with trains, isn't there, without track work as well going wrong on you. I saw a video today, I think it was somebody, I forget who it was now, ended up having trouble with his modern image stuff and ended up ripping the whole of his fiddle yard up and replacing 90% of it just to make it all work. So very frustrating. Anyway, I'm sorry, I can't resist talking about trains. 2 loves in my life, painting and trains. And my wife, 3 loves in my life. Gotta say that, once I get into real trouble. I'm not getting any dinner for the next few days. Just making this a little bluer. It got a little bit dirty and lost the punch that I was looking for. Okay. Yeah, Wendy, you are very quiet. Gotta say, just coming in with a bit more subtle shade under here. There's a little area here which I just want to punch in a little color value there of the cloud that's running through that part, and there's another one that's just going up through there which I actually haven't emphasized enough yet. So I'm going to come in and then just put in a light value just through there, which was missing. Very subtle, not very much of it. Just run it up into there too, like that. Sort of these sort of paintings, oil paintings, any painting, but you know, when you're painting away like this and you sort of look at something and you see something and you got to go back in, you've got to change a bit, do something else. But invariably, if you go too mad with something like that, you end up changing so much more. It has this sort of snowball effect, which is not always what you were seeking to do. Merely just trying to correct something, but in doing so you create a new raft of issues that you didn't have previously. So always assess what you're doing and before you change it. There's a piece there that I haven't dealt with at all. I'm going to actually come in and I'm going to change that. I could put blue in there, but I'm actually going to change the shape of the cloud just sufficiently enough to get away with changing and not having to paint that blue in. I think it's enough. Actually, I quite like painting the blue in, so I'm going to come back in with the blue anyway. Change of mind, change of everything. Clean the brush. Also, I'm going to have, the problem is that there's a lot of paint on the brush, and I didn't want to dirty it up. So I'm just going to come in and mix into a fresh place. Take some of the white off. Look at it, just see where it is on here, and see if we can't patch that up and bring that in. It's not so bad, it's not so hard to do. A bit more of the cobalt in there, we'll do that, and suggest a nice dark against the light. Really pushes up that light, gotta say, and bring that through that one as well. Let's lose that, take that off, blend it all in, and just change what's happening here. And let that cloud just start to form in the blue. Fairly decent recovery, I think, not a problem with that. Alright, I'm gonna, while I finish off parts of the cloud here, I'm gonna start looking at the base and the people and one thing and another and seeing where I need to go with that. So I'm just gonna do one or two other marks in here that are suggestive, and there's a little bit of a dark area around here which is bringing out that little pinkish bit. I'm going to put that in. That just reinforces that. And there's a nice little orangey glow. Lots of shift between the warm and the cold. I keep going between the blues and the reds and the pinks and the oranges. Right, I thought that's another reason why you don't want to use a mole stick too much. Not on this angle anyway. Look at that lovely yellow beach ball I just painted in the sea. I'll get rid of that. And I seem to have a friend as well in the form of a small fruit fly. Come on, fella, you're going to end up dying if you stay there. Off. Oh, there you go. Oh, quick, there you go. Go on. Bye-bye. Right, okay. So I've got to just repair that bit of sea very, very quickly from catching it with the paint just now. So it's quite a lovely, soft blue colour that I had. Try and recreate something of that nature back in there. Picked up a little bit of the cobalt, and actually that's not bad. Now that is, John, a happy accident, and it works. I like that. Gives a lovely fresh glow. I'm going to bring some in so it's not just the only bit of it. I'm going to bring some up in here too, so that it has a unity with another part of the painting at least. don't want to make it too obvious. I actually quite like that. Bring a little bit of it. I'm getting used to using it now. I'm going to bring some right the way through there as sort of a shadowy side to a wave that's running through that reflection. That's quite useful. Now I'm going to come in with a rigger, and it's only a case of time before I pick one up. And get a little bit of moisture on the end, and look at the colours. I'm going to use a lot of the umber that I was using, but quite a bit of blue, and just sort of look at it before you start using it. And then I just want to come through here with some of these marks that will be the sea and the wave. Just, I'm using the rigger, and as I'm doing, I'm pulling it down, jabbing it down, dragging it through, using the tip again, and sort of just dropping it in one or two places so it looks like the sea is breaking every so often. And yeah, basically, and a little bit warmer, a little bit redder and yellowish as it comes to this area underneath the more intense light. So it's a little bit warmer, which works very, very well with the blue that I've just laid in there, which is good. Like so. And I'm going to put a little bit of a dark line, just suggesting that one is picking up through the back there. And then one or two darks breaking away over here. Back into that other colour that I was using to start with. Just one or two little taps. And not too much information. You're suggesting, you're not actually stating. You can build up a couple of areas, like there's a little dark area there next to one of the fishermen, pretty much. Just build that one up as though it's just a slightly heavier wave at that point. Maybe another one there. Take that one through, break it again there, and that's all it really needs for the wave. Fruit fly has left the stream. Yes, he has. Well, he was rather ejected. He was not an unwelcome guest, but I didn't want to cause his demise either. Right, now the guys fishing on the beach. Let's come in there with a different dark. Let's go in with a very deep purple. And I'm going to use a pure purple. I'm going to use ultramarine and some magenta. And they are just little taps, and they come up into the waves a little bit. So let's just put one in here. Just suggest the form, like so. And then a couple of legs. And we can make him a little warmer. A bit of red on him, like so. And got a mate with him, and I don't know what, I don't quite know what they're doing, but well, apart from fishing, of course. So let's just put this one on, and he could be sort of moving a bit forward, suggestive. And I think they've got some of their kit over here, but I'm going to move it a little closer to them. I'm going to just put in a little box there on the shore, and then they've got their rod, which is going to go like so. And then the other guy's got his box of tricks, and he's got a little seat or something there. And he too has got a rod, of course, and that one's going to be slightly longer, and it's going to come down like so. One quick mark, all it needs, and darken up some of these values through here. Make it a little bit warmer, I think. A bit of umber in there would not go amiss. Just around this area, just suggestive that there's a bit of light on some of the sand, but not all of it. And a dark edge, because obviously the sand gets quite wet right on the edge of a stream. So let's just suggest that little dark wet area around this waterline, like so. I want to see the colour in my sleeve. Now that's why I don't normally work at an angle. I'm going to have to be careful. I'm going to be leaving oil paint. I'm going to start calling myself Judy. Judy does that. Sorry, Judy, but you know it's true. Just bring that through like so. And yes, Teresa, I saw that. Yes, the it has just started to liven the whole thing up, hasn't it? Just these little darks in one or two places just add that little something that's been missing from the whole painting. And it's going to bring these, make these a little darker so they stand out. And put one. Move one of his legs. One is sort of stretching at the back and leaning forward on and bending backwards, maybe. I don't know. I haven't fished for donkey's years now. Used to do a lot as a kid. Almost drawing on the edge. Let's just darken that area of the water down to them. And that will give a lovely colour quality against the dark, just like where the sand is going to be wet in the same way as we did it just now. And that I didn't want to happen, not to worry. Take some of that back off. There you go. Okay, that will probably be enough on it, I think, from that point of view. Looking great, Paul. We'll look forward to Friday as long as you don't clash with Monty Don. Oh, Sue. Can't be any contest between me and Monty. I'm going to bring my dogs in and I'm going to call it the Paul and Lobo show, not the Nigel and Nelly show. Yes, of course, social distancing. Yes, they've got their backs turned to each other, Ben. Hopefully that's sufficient to do the job. Right, I'm just going to have a quick look over the whole of this thing. Time is getting on, I understand. I do appreciate your staying with this, everybody. Just want to put in a little bit more yellowish colour. Trying to decide how far to take that. So I'm mixing around on here just to see the colour values of the yellow that I've got and see how much further I want to push those yellow statements within the white cloud itself. It can look very mustardy otherwise if you're not careful. And leave the bulk of it white over that side, just one or two areas here just playing around with, and a little subtle colour in here. One or two other places that I'm looking at just tapping some more information in. And bringing this area up here needs a little bit more of a brighter statement there. Let that come down and sort of disappear in the ether. And a little bit dark there. So I'm talking to myself in a way. I'm just trying to sort of create and look and just double check before we finish, as it were, where we're at. I think that could be a more yellow colour just in there. Just a tap more. And I think over here needs to be darker. I've been looking at that area and I think it does need to have a much deeper value. I'm going to come in with that in here and bring that all the way down to the horizon line, being very careful not to disrupt anything that I've done so far. And it needs to have a bit of red just to take it away off the blue a little bit, making it a very dirty value of purple. Now I'm going to blend that into and underneath this cloud, like so. Being very gentle with the strokes, and let some of that come back up into here. But it does turn very yellowish as it comes up in here. So the value completely changes. Just soften that there. Just minute touches. Yeah, I appreciate it, Luke. Thank you very much. I'm not worried about rushing. If everybody's happy, I will keep painting. If you've got to go, that's fine. I understand that too. I'll let the dogs off you later. Right, just checking this here. It gets quite dark and I've missed that. So I just want to come in and suggest that right down that dark value onto the horizon line. All my touches now, all my little subtle blends are very, very gentle little touches. A couple of little divots. I think there's a bit of a pit in the paint in the surface. Just going to come in and just gently take that through there like so. Very subtle changes, as I say. A little bit of light there that's been missed, but I'm not worried if that does stay like that at all. Oh, good. Okay, well, I'll keep going then. Just going to have a glug. Haha, good health, everyone. Right. I'm always aware that I might be sort of taking too much time on these paintings. It's never easy to judge it. I know what I'd like to do if I was painting, but I'm also aware that, you know, there is a certain amount of time for things and people have got things they must do. So I don't really, I'm always aware that I'm taking too much time on something. Right, just giving that a nice little fluffy edge there. There needs to be a stronger yellowish statement, more bright. There you go. Maybe a tap of lemon in that, actually. Missing a trick. There you go. That lemon did the job. And creep a little bit in the back there. Okay. Is everybody else still with me? Being very quiet, everybody. Nice bright statements coming in now. This is putting white with a tap of lemon into it. There is some areas of the other colours creeping in because it's not a pure brush mark, but I'm just tapping it away. And as that goes off into that lovely deep blue, then it just picks up some of the blue, but it's almost like it's fusing off. It's just a very shiny, heavy sky cloud, and the blue just makes the white, or the yellow white in this case, radiate the brilliance, the white colour. And doing a little bit here too. Just tapping in and adding one or two little highlight areas. Very strong, very firm colour. and can be quite a bold statement. Just be careful you don't overdo it. Okay. It's interesting, so I'm starting to see the brush marks now a little bit more than, because I don't normally paint so thick, but I see all my brush marks, but it's actually forming up nicely that I'm actually seeing brush marks forming within the paint surface, which is good. Right. Okay, well, the technical issues did actually cause a bit of a problem, didn't they, Luke? So we will carry on until people tell me I've got to down tools and stop. Can anyone suggest a good place for breakfast in the morning while we're at it? And put a little bit more light in one or two places here. A little bit more orangey, but definitely a lot lighter and a lot warmer. Just bring it up one sort of degree, as it were. Just let that come out a little bit toward you. And this is where, you know, the painting can start taking on a whole. We've got the essence of everything done, but now we're creating the refinements. You know, the little bits that make the difference between a good or an average painting and a very nice painting. It's the ability to devote the time to check and look at the different subtleties that would be missed by rushing. Apart from the rigger, I've only used these two sizes of angular brush throughout this painting. This is a little light, funny swirl that I seem to have missed a bit. I'm just going to suggest something going on in there. Just break up some of that mass of colour there. Breakwater. No, there isn't actually. Not in this picture. Oh yes, there is. Sorry, Ben. I couldn't see it. I got the light shining right on it and I could not see that breakwater. Do you really want a breakwater in there? Okay, I'll put the breakwater in. Let me just finish off one or two values in here. I couldn't see that at all for looking, to be honest with you. Something I missed as well. Come back in with a little bit of a dirty blue and just give that a little bit of a base there. I completely missed it. Sometimes you mix and mix and mix before you get the right value that you're looking for, but it really is worth pursuing it. Never just settle for it. If you think you got close and not quite close enough, then carry on mixing. Make sure that you do it and get it all as it should be. Groin, yes, it is a groin. See, it's not a breakwater at all, Ben. It's a groin. I can't actually see it. It's a big angle one right here, and it doesn't look great there. If I'm going to put one in, I'm going to move it. So let's just draw it in first off. Let's just go with a dark value in there, and let's just suggest that it starts through here somewhere. Let's just draw in a very faint line that we can get rid of quite easily. Just suggesting where our breakwater is going to run from and to. So I think it will be through something like that. Okay, that's, you can't probably see that line. I can. But I'm going to come in now with some dark umbers and blues, and I'm going to, you can't really see much. I'm going to put a little few taps there, and then they are quite close together. And start spacing out and getting taller, not like that. And I'm just putting thin marks to start with. And of course they then come out of shot, as it were, like so. Probably not enough of them, but it's a token. So I'm just going to suggest their shapes and a little bit of the running boards that you see. I'll tidy that up in a minute and come in here, one, another one. Come in with some blue and some dark, because they're going to be on the shadow side facing us. Now I'm going to put in some boards. Now all of them have boards, and they do change how thick they are depending at what point they're at. Some are lower than others. Right, so okay. Gentlemen, are we satisfied? Are we satisfied with the breakwater before I go any further? See? Another perspective. I'd have left out the groin. What I'm going to do at the end of this is I'm going to auction off the other painting I've been doing on my sleeve. Any takers? Yeah, maybe you could be right, Judy, but I can always paint it out. Just not when Ben or Jeff are watching. So it's in there for the moment, and we can, as I say, we can take it out if we feel the need later on. But it does give a lead in, but you could also argue it leads people out of the picture. So I don't know. Okay, I'm going to put in, all of you people are watching, groin in, groin out. I don't mind. I can take it out or I can leave it in. What I am going to do though is I'm going to give that little bit of breakwater colour some bit of light just where it's picking up a little bit of the reflection from the cloud out there. And that will pump up the sense of light on that. Just add something a little bit more special. That worked. Welcome to the club, Paul. Yeah. In. Okay, well the groin stays. It's an outvoted situation, so the groin stays in. Although I do need to just tidy up that little bit of a smudge just through there somewhere. Putting a little bit of colour into that. Dirty, a little bit more dark. Got that wrong. Let's come back in and just play around with that a little bit. It's got a little bit out of hand, that little corner there. I just lost it a bit, so I'm going to come back in, play around with it until we get it somewhere where it should be. Okay. Now, always around groins also there are puddles, so let's just put in one or two that make and suggest that there is water around these. Like so. Makes that believable, sitting in a puddle, and that one can come back up this side. Give that a bit more of a, it can come in on that post, I'm not worried about that. And maybe let's just put in a puddle here, as we often see them around the posts. So now we've come right away from the actual image and we are now creating our own picture as such. Changing the brush, going back into the rigger, just repair that post there and just one or two dark marks just to reinforce the boards. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it looks like it, Wendy. You're out voted. But I don't mind it. I mean, it puts it at Dymchurch, so that's not a bad thing, is it? So we're there. It's good. Right, now then, let's just see if there's anything else that really needs to do, because I'm aware we are almost at 2 hours, and I don't want people to get fed up. So I'm just coming back in, just refining one or two little bluey areas against the warm areas, just changing one or two marks and adding one or two more. So what do you reckon, Teresa? I hope it was worth tuning in for. No, Catherine won't be the, well, she actually will be the final judge, I suppose. Yeah. Who am I kidding? I like to think I was the final judge, but I'm not. I'm just picking up on some of these marks. They're very small little taps of cloud colour. And some more darks over here. I don't know if that's the right value to put in. It might be that it needs to be a little warmer than that and maybe a bit more yellow than that. Quite a dark colour. So I'm going to come in, change that blue value to a darker one and play around with that and let that go off over here into that cloud there, like so. Comes back a little bit on itself, breaks away down here. Oh, good. Now I haven't established a lot of dark area in here that is actually missing, that's actually in the photo, but I'm not that worried. I'm just going to increase one or two areas up in here just to suggest other dark values in the forms. Dotting I's, crossing T's. Checking, double checking, rechecking. Putting one or two real darker statements in one or two places. And this is where sometimes people scare themselves, and I do it myself. I do something and I look at it and I think, oh, and then you get scared and you pull back from it. But don't. Try and leave it there. It's not as though you can't change it anyway. We've done that all the way through this painting at different times. I've done something, didn't like it, moved it, changed it. But just try, and if you put something in, just leave it if you can. A bit different, as I say before, if it's a watercolour you can't do that, but in an oil you can get away with so much in terms of leaving it, assessing it, and coming back on it if you're happy or not happy accordingly. I'm hunting all over the picture for things that I want to change or just refine a little bit more than were ordinary or as were left. What was that, Luke? Sorry, mate, I missed that one. In the painting I'm doing at the moment, there are lots of ballast, but yeah, actually that's a very common issue, Luke, and I do understand where you're coming from with the ballast situation. You do a beach of stones and stuff and all that sort of stuff. And I think the idea is to have generic mid-tone colours and just vary it like I did on the beach with sort of warms and cools and just one or two taps here and there. What you shouldn't try and do is paint all of those stones or try and paint lots of pimples and pebbles. You've got to become very, very generic over the whole thing and suggest it. That's all you can do. Andrew, thanks very much. Appreciate you coming along and joining in. Hopefully see you again, maybe on on Friday if you're about, and you'll be more than welcome. And yeah, glad you enjoyed it. Catch you soon. Just coming in with a bit more warmth down here, a bit more weight into some of this, just to give it a bit more of a glow. And I'm really doing a very small job of dry brushing, a little bit of value over the top of some of this. I don't want to make it too much, I just want to increase a little bit. There's a nice bright mark over the back there which I've actually missed. I'm going to try and put that in. It's almost there and it's just catching a bit of light from the back here. So this part's in shade, that's cork light, but this is catching light too. And so I want to tap in some of that nice bright light as it comes down and then just filters off into the sky. That's nice, I quite like that. It's quite a hard edge, but I'm not too worried about it. If you are, just literally run the brush through and just soften it up a little bit. I don't think it really needed it too much. Right, Why do you agree with Wendy? What are you agreeing with Wendy on, Julie? Come on, spill the beans. Right, just one more touch of light through here and over here. That went a bit pear-shaped. Just come back in on that just a bit, add a bit more light. A little bit over here too. Okay, I think that we could keep going on and on and on, and I am aware of the time, and we are just over the 2 hours, so I shall probably do another 10 minutes if that's all right, and then think about wrapping it up and calling it a day for people. And as I've said to my patrons, there will be our next one will be on Sunday, and hopefully you're free Sunday morning at 10 o'clock for that. And the next YouTube one will be on Friday. It will be a watercolour, and I'm not quite sure what of yet. Keep thinking I might do a boat. Keep looking at doing the boat. So I quite probably will do that as a watercolour. And then I'll start thinking about the next oil painting, which will be on Monday next. And hopefully by then I should have enough time to tidy up and clean up my zestic pot and get that as it should be. Keep seeing little things I just want to tweak. That needs a bit more of a tweak there. Now you tell me. You're actually right, and it's another lead-in line, isn't it? I'm going to leave it there because there'll be an awful lot of problems with it otherwise. But no, Wendy, where are your comments? You said, Wendy, yeah, you're agreeing with her. Oh, still don't like the position of the groin. It was to the left of the people who work better. Yes, you're right, Wendy. Sorry, I didn't see that comment come in. Yes, you're right. It would be better over there. Okay. Groin's gone. Didn't like the groin anyway. Bear with me, people. Got the JCBs in. A little bit of restructuring of the beach. Actually, it's given me a chance to put a few other colour values in which were missing and work very, very nicely. I'll take those bits out of the water. Now let's just look at re-establishing our groin. I'm going to bring it in through this corner. I'm going to bring it in through there, somewhere like that, and out to the sea. Don't want to lead it obviously into them too much, that just over the top. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to suggest maybe a few depths there and there and there and there and there, and there and there and there and there. Okay. Now warming that up. Okay, now are we okay? Are we agreed then the groins here are now okay? Gotta say, you ladies are right. Just strengthening that one. Actually, that groin looks beautiful through that light there. So that alone made it worthwhile doing, gotta say. And that one just there too. Just pops through that bit of light water. So that was a good call, girls. And all the way through there, down through the beach to there. Okay. Yes, I have. You're right, and you were spot on. It did. I didn't see it. I was following the photo, to be honest with you. I told you not to do that necessarily as well. So, all in all, I was wrong. You're correct, and we will move on swiftly. I'm just going to bring in that puddle on this side now, like that. And then come back in with that dark. Just re-establish that bit there, and then potentially have a little bit of a reflection, possibly not. I want to raise that up a little bit, and that one, take it up a little bit. That means that one, which makes it stand into the sea, which is what I was after doing. This one can go up a little bit, as can this one. This one can thicken up and come up higher, and so too this one can come through like that. Yeah, okay, good call. Does look better, gotta say. Just even like a little bit of reflection, which actually adds something as well. A little bit. Okay, guys, I think that we are pretty much sorted out on this painting. I'm just going to put a little signature down there. I haven't quite finished. Let's put that in there. And I want to come in with one last little bit through here, which I missed out on. So I'm just going to come in and redo that water through there. Right, so get rid of those apparent groins, and a little bit in the sea, which I've also missed. Just going to repair that very quickly. Take that out of the equation. All right. So I think we are done. I have painted everything, my trousers, my hands, my sleeve. I've done a painting too, believe it or not. And everything else has been painted along with it. I have had a bit of a good time tonight, and I've enjoyed painting this painting. It's been a while since I've done an oil, and it's been a while since I've done, well, not a while since I've done a cloud, because I love painting clouds, but it's been a bit of fun, and I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed watching it and got something from it as well. Yeah, thanks very much, Teresa. I'm glad you managed to join us, and please don't be a stranger. You know where it is. You've only got to tune in. It's either going to be on a Monday evening at 7. Friday evenings at 7, if I can do that as well. I hope to. And also Sunday morning at 10 in the morning. More oils, please. Well, I'm going to do one of each. I'm going to do an oil and a watercolour. And I think I might do an oil on Sunday for the patrons. So that'll be good. Yeah, no, thanks ever so much, Luke. I'm very much a newbie at these stream things, and I hope that they are not too boring, not too uninteresting. I know you're watching me paint, but you know, I just don't want the chat or anything to dry up and what have you. So, you know, it's great. Thanks, John. I appreciate that too. I got the same from watching you do your bricks. I tell you what, I still don't know how you have the patience to do all those. Now, I'll have to have a talk to you about that, my friend, because I think I can only do it in plastic art. I don't know if I'm going to get the same effect out of it. But did you use watercolor paper? Because that definitely looked like decal edge on one side of that paper you had cutting for your bricks. Sorry, ladies, I'm digressing for just a second. Just getting in a quick question to John. Yeah, anyway, sorry. So, you know, I just want these to be fun, and people will become used to seeing them, I hope. And even beyond the COVID thing, beyond the lockdown, if I've got into doing these streams on these particular days, I plan on keeping them going. I don't see any reason there's any reason why not to. Yes, John, in answer to that, I just saw that flash up. I do plan on doing a railway stream. At the moment, it can only be in here once I get the modelling side of it up and running, my friend. The actual railway room, I need to get a separate feed or a booster in for the internet. I can't run off of my hub. It's too far away. So unless anybody out there knows a great way that I can work off of 4G or something and stream, I don't know. But I would like to do one, the occasional railway stream as well off the other channel, John. Very much so. Okay. Right. So that all said, people, I hopefully going to see each and every one of you on Friday, and then on Sunday, and then on Monday again, and let it build. Let's have some more fun painting. In the meantime, have a go at this one. I'll try and get time, and I know Wendy's asked me to put some other pieces up on the Patreon channel to download. I will put this up so you can download it too. And yeah, appreciate that, Ben. Thank you ever so much, mate. And I think the groin move was spot on. The girls were right about that. I didn't see it, but it's the right call. But yeah, have a go at this one, and just catch you all very, very soon. I'm going to keep gassing on. I'm going to leave this stream open for any other comments. I'm going to read a few through, answer a few. So if any of you are still there and I've got a few questions or want to ask something, use the stream, and I'll leave it running for a little bit more before I turn it off. So in the meantime, have a great evening, and have a great week. Stay safe, stay distance from everybody. And I've got to do the dreaded shopping run tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to that at all. But yeah, catch you all soon, guys. Happy painting. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now. Cheers, Luke. Take care, matey. Take care, Teresa. Take care, Judy. Ben, thank you very much. John Piccadilly, thanks ever so much, mate. Wendy, lovely as ever. Thank you ever so much for your help and your support. And Jeff, thank you for tuning in. I think Andrew went a bit early. I think there was somebody else there. I'm not sure if they're still there. But anybody else who's been watching this, I think, how many are we down to now? How many people are still watching, if any? If any. I'm sure there's a couple. I think we had about 10 or 12 at one point. Anyway, right. 00, 000, 000. Eyes watching, yes. You're getting a bit smart with the texting there, Ben. Thanks, John. Take care, mate. 8 now. Okay, well, we're winding down. 9. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just getting ready for my gin. But I enjoyed that painting, everybody. I really did. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, it just meant that I could really get in there and get some of those values going, some warms and cools, lights and darks. All right, I'm going to turn this off now, and I'll catch you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.